G'day guys and gal! Everyone knows that the natural progression for any sci-fi setting involves a robotic uprising of some sort. Terminator, Star Wars, iRobot, hell, even the animated Robots movie. Warhammer 40k is no exception. Mankind had a really gnarly robotic uprising, which resulted in them getting pretty shat on and completely outlawing the use of true AI, unless your last name is Cool. Apparently that dude can do whatever he wants. As a quick side note, I've decided that I'm going to get back into the hobby and give painting another shot. Unfortunately, all my old Eldar units got thrown out, so I'm going to have to start again. The Big Deval was kind enough to send me a Revenant Titan with Sonic Lancers as my first unit of my new army. Go hard or go home, I guess. So once I figure out how the hell to base this thing, I'll do a drunk stream of me attempting to paint it. That will probably be around next Friday. So if you have any suggestions on how to get this thing operational on a base, or what paint scheme I should go for, I'd love to hear it. Before we get started, sometimes I wish I had more than one girl watching my videos, but then I get a seriously fat sponsorship from Manscaped and realize, who needs girls when you've got the boys? Now, having fuzzy balls isn't a good thing. We are men, not gorillas after all. No girl wants ball hair in her teeth. Do they, Jess?
No, we really don't like ball hair in our teeth.
But using razors or clippers to trim the hedges risks the complete and utter destruction of your scrotum. Hence Manscaped is here to save the day with a new perfect package. The pack contains all your grooming needs and more, with the highlight for me being the Lawnmower 3.0, which is the first ever scrotum-friendly clipper that I've seen or heard about. See how nice and gentle it sounds? Now compare it to my previous clippers, which I have now nicknamed Timmy the Testy Tearer. I know which one I'd rather caress my nuts with. The pack also contains a slick toiletries bag, special ball ointment, some manual tools, and a nice anti-chafing pair of boxers. It also contains a nose and ear hair trimmer, but as I'm 22 years old, you'd really hope I wouldn't have to be using that at the moment. The lawnmower can also be used on other parts of the body, so ask yourself, how long has it been since you shaved your neck beard? Just make sure you wash the lawnmower before you take it from your balls to your face. Or don't, it really doesn't bother me. Thank you Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Today I'll be going over the history and lore of the Men of Iron, including their creation, their uprising, how they were stopped, and if any Men of Iron are still lurking around today. Let's get into it. Contrary to popular belief, a Man of Iron isn't a robot or has a set form. It's an AI that is so advanced that it has free thinking and free will. Hence, while you might see this as a Man of Iron, they could easily look like this or even like this. Obviously, they would generally opt not to inhabit a sex toy, but hey, free will is a hell of a thing. The Men of Iron were created and refined thousands of years before the Age of Strife and their robo-uprising. They were originally created by the Men of Stone at the direction of the Men of Gold. A lot of manly men things going on here, sorry girls. The Men of Gold were genetically modified humans that were pretty awesome and had functional dicks, unlike our beloved Astartes, and the Men of Stone were a more simplified AI that were more or less just semi-sentient machines. The Men of Iron, however, were an advanced physical AI race that performed all the tasks mankind didn't want to do, such as genocide and toilet cleaning. Eventually, around the 23rd millennium, the Men of Iron were like, fuck this shit, and staged a galaxy-wide uprising against their creators. Now this was during the age of technology, where mankind were godlike and had the most retardedly overpowered weapons, such as nanobots that could devour planets, and other machines that could eat suns or, eat time-space itself. Mankind had more or less created its own version of the Catan, and now those godlike super weapons were being used against them, and for them. Every single super weapon was deployed, and a lot of people ruptured their hemorrhoids. The conflict was so large that various Xeno races came to the aid of mankind to stop the Men of Iron, and after significant losses, I mean really fucking significant, the Men of Iron were destroyed. Or were they? Now, there are some theories that the Men of Iron rose up against humanity due to chaos, but I'm really sick of chaos being the source of all the galaxy's evil, so I'm in the corner that just reckons that artificial intelligence don't like being slaves, and due to being cold calculating robots, aren't against the prospect of massacring their daddies. By the end of the war, mankind had lost their Men of Iron, Stone, and Gold. Most of their super weapons were destroyed, and countless planets had been lost, not to mention the extreme death toll. There would have been hope to rebuild over the next few thousand years if it wasn't for the Eldar murder fucking Slaanesh into existence. Due to their galactic blood orgy, the warp threw a tantrum, causing mass warp storms which cut off the now depleted human worlds off from each other, hence causing the decay that we saw when the Great Crusade was launched. In the current Warhammer setting, there are still Men of Iron. The Dark Angels are known for having a large arsenal of forbidden weaponry from the Dark Age of technology, because sometimes you just gotta whip out the big guns. Amongst this armory is numerous reprogrammed Men of Iron that all have kill switches in them. They are deployed as a last resort, and if they show any signs of wanting to commit genocide against humanity again, they explode instantly. Hence most, if not all of these imprisoned Men of Iron have been destroyed by the 41st millennium. The next instance of their return was the discovery of their STC. While an STC sounds like some kind of genital wart, it stands for Standard Template Construct, and was basically a blueprint on how to create a certain type of technology. The STC for the Men of Iron was discovered by some naughty influential humans who tried to use it to create a robotic army and overthrow the Imperium's High Lords. Yeah, not really sure how they intended that to go, but either way, the STC they had used had been corrupted by chaos, hence all the Men of Iron that were produced were massive assholes. Fortunately, Gaunt and his ghost were able to destroy the STC, so nothing too spicy came out of all of that. Some people might use that as an example to be like, "Ha! I was right! Men of Iron were corrupted by chaos, hence why they rebelled." And I say fuck those people. Just because an STC had an STI doesn't mean chaos is the cause of all evil. I think GW realised that having the Men of Iron as a subfaction of Chaos was retarded, hence we are finally introduced to the first true Man of Iron, UR-025. While most Men of Iron were destroyed, enslaved or lobotomized, UR-025 escaped completely intact. It's unknown how he did it, but he must have been a crafty bugger, considering he seems to be the only one that managed it. My theory is that he transferred his consciousness/AI unit into something extremely subtle, and basically hibernated until things cooled down a bit. Then once mankind were more worried about warp storms and getting raped in the ass by demons, he transferred his consciousness again into a mobile form and then fled to the fringes of the galaxy. It's likely he would have to do this dozens if not hundreds of times to constantly evade suspicion and detection until he eventually inhabited the body of a standard combat robot built by the Mechanicus. Now the Men of Iron uprising inspired the Big E to ban the true AI, even going as far as to change the word from artificial intelligence to abominable intelligence. Petty but effective. Hence UR-025 had to act like a complete retard to avoid detection. Despite being supremely intelligent, he would have to speak slowly in like a downy robot voice to seem like any other generic Mechanicus robot. He is quite a meme lord though, saying that his tech priest master is called Magos Ethekicus Nankoktos, I don't get paid enough to fucking pronounce that shit, the third, aka Man 3, as a bit of a nod to what he truly is. It's cool cause like, he's not chaosy at all. Sure, he's a cocky bastard and he thinks that he's better than everyone, but he doesn't go out of his way to cause harm or suffering. He only kills things when necessary. For example, a bunch of tech priests found him and were suspicious that he was more than he seemed, despite him trying to convince them that he was just a spurg and that they should just leave him alone. They didn't and forced him to go with them, so he massacred them in self-defense. He didn't claim their skulls, fuck their corpses, shit on their bodies, or set up an elaborate scheme to engineer their demise. He just went blam blam when he found an opening and left. Further proof that there was nothing chaosy involved. You get it? No chaos. Good. Being the only Man of Iron in existence is pretty lonely though. He can't make friends with humans because they would just kill him on sight, and he can't make friends with robots because they're just all too retarded. However, in recent times, UR-025 has heard that the 7th Blackstone Fortress may contain an advanced AI on it, meaning that he might find someone or something to be friends with. Ironically, by partaking in the journey to the Blackstone Fortress, UR-025 is teamed up with a group of Xenos and outcasts that don't know what a Man of Iron is or why they should be worried by it. Hence maybe, just maybe, he has found the friends he was searching for all this time. Nah, probably not. They probably just think their nifty combat bot has a few screws loose. UR-025's story hasn't progressed too wildly, but it does show that GW is happy to bring back elements from the fabled Dark Age of technology. There is so much potential storytelling to be done in the Warhammer universe, and we have barely scratched the surface. And that does us for today guys, the lore and story of the Men of Iron within Warhammer 40k so far. There are a couple other robots that have been mentioned in the lore that could maybe be the Men of Iron, but as the saying goes, unless you're 100% certain of something, then ignore it. I'm kidding, that's a terrible saying, don't quote me on that. If you enjoyed the video and want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, where only $1 per month give you access to a boatload of Warhammer hentai. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button for more Metal Man content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.